Hello guys, it's Quentin here, and sorry if you can hear the background. It's just I'm watching one of my videos. It's just a class video that I've took in a long time ago. So yeah, I'm going to make a video about it. So I'm gonna start. This is page 100. Yeah, 100. It's been a long time since I've done those videos, so let's just get started. The Party's Over by Quinn.
The party's over February 1st, 2021. Life during the Great Depression. Part 1 Directions. 1. Go to Discovery and click on the assignment called The Party's Over. 2. Click on the picture of the four people. A new window will open. 3. Click on the greenish-blue Next button to go to the background information page. Use the information in this section to answer the questions below. Be sure to be thorough and completely answer the questions. Please use as much information as possible, not just 2 or 3 words. Part 1, Background Information. Question. Answer space. 1. What problems indicated that the prosperity of the 1920s would not last long? Farmers probably had to use something else for taxes to demand them for unities. 2. What event marked the beginning of the Great Depression? Stock market crash of 1929. 3. How did President Franklin D. Roosevelt think repealing prohibition would help the country? They help most parts of the finance time for other citizens. Go to part 2 on the next page. Part 2 Directions. 1. Click the greenish-blue Next button to go to the next section. 2. Click on each person to answer the questions about them below. Be sure to be thorough and completely answer the questions. Please use as much information as possible, not just 2 or 3 words. Part 2, The Individuals. Question. Answer space. 1. What role did Al think the government should play during the Great Depression? The Wall Street stockbroker and the great crash of 29. Now, I understand about getting my routine bread line every day. 2. How did the Great Depression change George's life? I would have lost the house. I took the mill job, and raising children is hard, and I got more fireside chats for everyone. 3. Why did Samuel become a bootlegger, even though he knew selling alcohol was illegal? I used that job because high taxes made me lose a job for farmers, and now the profits are really good. 4. How did Maisie think she was helping other people during the Depression? I didn't know what other presidents think of this, but I think the influence is neutral. Go to part 3 on the next page. Part 3 Directions. 1. Click on the Next button. 2. Write each person's name in a box in the far left-hand column. 3. Read each issue and decide how you think each of the people would most likely respond to it based on the information in their biography from Part 2. Remember, you are answering as that person, not as yourself. Be sure to be thorough and completely answer the questions. Please use as much information as possible, not just 2 or 3 words. Issue number 1, should women who haven't been working be allowed to take jobs outside of the home? Person. Yes. Neutral. No. Reason. Samuel. Yes. I was glad my wife does not have to find work but knows it might have been necessary for all human beings. Maisie. Yes. I was proud that I could work and support myself doing work that I've loved. Georgia. Yes. I didn't like working. I was glad for the way to support my family in all cases. Al. Neutral. I was so frustrated by the competition women add to the search for work. But I understood why it was necessary for them to work. Issue number 2, should prohibition be repealed in order to help jumpstart stimulate the economy? Person. Yes. Neutral. No. Reason. Samuel. Yes. I profited from selling alcohol but lived in fear of getting caught. I would have preferred to make a living without breaking any laws. Maisie. Neutral. I believed people would come listen to music at clubs whether alcohol was legal or not. But I did not want the government to make more changes. Georgia. No. Many prohibition supporters were women. I had seen alcoholism destroy families and thought that the prohibition had taken place. Al. Yes. I wanted honest work. I didn't want to break the law. I thought alcohol would improve the economy. Issue number 3. Should the government do more to help the people directly? Person. Yes. Neutral. No. Reason. Samuel. No. Farmers were still struggling even with some government help. He feels people should find a way to make himself quite a job. Maisie. No. I didn't think the government could really help. I thought the government should not interfere with the speaker business. Georgia. Neutral. I seemed content with the reassurance given by the president's fireside chats. I didn't say wherever I vote the government should do more. Al. Yes. I resented President Hoover's lack of results. I supported Roosevelt's ideas for using government programs to help people. Check your work and turn this into its learning now. Make sure the link is viewable so that it can be graded.
So that's it for the party's over. So I am not going to be doing those yet until I get the answers in time. So yeah, just letting you know that. I can only answer some papers. I can only view some papers whenever I get done, basically. So I have to do the whole thing mostly again. Because you can see that I have those pages on because I'm still working on those that I have not even finished. So I'll just rather wait until to the next part or something until I get it done. So just let you know. Red Tail Angel. Yeah, we did notes about this. We have to write about facts about this topic. Hopefully this puzzle piece will show up. Sometimes it doesn't show up too much. You can hear the Mr. Demling's high-pitched voice. I just rather have high-pitched voice with Mr. Demling. The only one you're gonna have to do is just to make it high-pitched. Like on Sony Vegas, or just add like pluses. See how the pitch actually can go. So that's how you prepare for pitches that you can do. You can do it to do. I don't like his low pitched that much, so I just rather have the high pitched voice. Will be way less. Just, I cannot describe it better, but in generally, I just like it. I just like his high pitched voice. It's way better than his original voice, but his nearly high pitched voice is okay. It needs a little work. Like I did on the Daily of the Life of Learning, if you want to check it out. So here goes with the Red Tail Angel.
Tuskegee Airmen were represented to Air Forces a long time ago and were discovered by fighter wings by these adventures. Tuskegee Airmen had finished many missions to make the world a better place by surviving rounds that have been almost close to death but made it to a head. Tuskegee Airmen were the first black military investor since then. He was a great compassionate helper to survive people around to the big emergency of sorties of Europe. Tuskegee Airmen has a lot of groups for primary sources for emergency forces to cover many surrenders to activate exploration operations. Tuskegee Airmen was trained by all 992 pilots killing for attackers in training for legal combats producing the missions on time. Tuskegee Airmen are the most susceptible to the influence of crowd psychology for many missions that have been represented. Tuskegee Airman cannot control himself in the fear of danger to the extent the white man can, but stress can cause him to lose control but stays calm during missions. Tuskegee Airman's success is definitely more powerful than other enemies that don't do the job very well but do missions differently on the battlefield. Tuskegee Airman was finally able to travel to the University of Alabama and have been reaching goals to improve a lot for the battle that was taking place for surrenders. Tuskegee Airmen have been called upon to the institute they are speaking into tonight at a very serious moment in history for all people. Tuskegee Airmen was related to the Red Tails for the distinctive ideas for modeling services flooding more than individual. Tuskegee Airmen had to retest the normal subject to achieve more goals in the future. To test it once and for all above actually is to enter pilot training.
So that's about it for Red Tail's Angel. That I personally know about Red Tail's Angel is basically it's just the atmosphere of that movie or video that I can say. The activity of the creating a flow chart of water cycle. So this is what my responses are so far. I'm pretty sure he put it a comment in this document. So he how can I get out of this? Because there's a thing in the way. Yeah, let's just do that anyway. And here are the pictures that look like, so you can actually see what they look like. And here are the kids that can learn about this in the future. Or some kids can learn astronomy or space. You guys can look at the pictures and they can remind you of what they look like. Because this is what life's all about, basically.
Activity: creating a flowchart of the water cycle. Name: Quinn. For each of the following terms, find an image or drawing. Then copy and paste the images together with arrows showing the movement of water between different places. For example, 1. Evaporation. 2. Condensation. 3. Precipitation. 4. Transpiration. 5. Sublimation. 6. The sun.
Obviously.
7. Runoff. 8. Infiltration. 9. Groundwater. 10. Fresh water. 11. Salt water. 12. Seepage. 13. Interception. 14. Advection. 15. Aquifer.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure he put a comment in that situation. I don't know if I can see the comment or not, but I'll be able to show you whenever I'm ready. Let's talk about the FDR's Fireside chat. So this is the FDR's first Fireside chat on March 12, 1933. The President Franklin Roosevelt delivered a phone radio talk to the nation from President Kennedy's, well, not President Kennedy, but President's study in the White House at 10 p.m. And here are the rest of the notes that are taken.
I want to talk for a few minutes with the people of the United States about banking, with the comparatively few who understand the mechanics of banking, but more particularly with the overwhelming majority who use banks for the making of deposits and the drawing of checks. I want to tell you what has been done in the last few days, why it was done, and what the next steps are going to be. I recognize that the many proclamations from state capitals and from Washington, the legislation, the Treasury regulations, etc., couched for the most part in banking and legal terms, should be explained for the benefit of the average citizen. I owe this in particular because of the fortitude and good temper with which everybody has accepted the inconvenience and hardships of the banking holiday. I know that when you understand what we in Washington have been about, first of all, let me state the simple fact that when you deposit money in a bank, the bank does not put the money into a safe deposit vault. It invests your money in many different forms of credit: bonds, commercial paper, mortgages, and many other kinds of loans. In other words, the bank puts your money to work to keep the wheels of industry and of agriculture turning around. A comparatively small part of the money you put into the bank is kept in currency, an amount which in normal times is wholly sufficient to cover the cash needs of the average citizen. In other words, the total amount of all the currency in the country is only a small fraction of the total deposits in all of the banks. It was then that I issued the proclamation providing for the nationwide bank holiday, and this was the first step in the government's reconstruction of our financial and economic fabric. 1. When was the first fireside chat given? March 12, 1933, June 12, 1944. 2. Is this a primary or secondary source? It is like a primary source because it fits for the clear instructions. 3. Why did Roosevelt use the radio to talk to the public? Because he was quite understandable to quell rumors and all the drama causes all apart. 4. What was the main topic of the chat? It was a calm fireside economic legal title could use process. 5. According to Roosevelt, what happens to money when it is deposited into a bank? Explain. It literally makes funds separated because the money when deposited to the bank can cause the asset. 6. How do you think most Americans responded to FDR's fireside chats? They probably responded by the opinion if they accept the factory for chats.
Okay, so I hate to cut. Okay, so I was gonna say something about the part five. My response was it really makes funds separated because of money when deposited into the bank can cause the asset. So in this class, U.S. history class, we basically learn about the banks that can be pretty much to accountage. Like it just reminds me of like business for general, just in general that I can learn about business and stuff like that. But it's mostly recommended to learn about banks because we can know how much money you need or something like that. You may need to know how many money you need to have, or like how is money how money's how cash and money are currently made. So that's where you learn about U.S. history from. I believe. I believe it happens to your school, but your teacher probably taught you this. So yeah, Mr. Kuhn, he teaches me a lot of information about money, and that's what I want to do to just to count on money of where I'm going and stuff to make sure that money is I gotta make sure that I'm like just choosing my time wisely, just in general. Yeah, it really just makes a perfection of what I can do for when I have to pay stuff or what I have to do for my life to add more effort to what how much money I have or how much money that I currently have is. Sometimes I'm poor, sometimes I'm rich. I'm currently rich right now. I have like more money. I have like hundreds of dollars. So like yeah, I've been working really hard to buy a house. Basically, been working so hard to buy a house. Yeah, all I need to do is just add more effort to so I can buy my house in the future. It's probably gonna be another state. It's probably gonna be around Arizona or Colorado. I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure that I could move to Arizona because I just wanted to see my friend again that I've not seen for so long, basically.
1. The 1920s were boom time. In 1929, more money was spent on advertising than education. 2. In an age of consumerism and capitalism, over $6 billion goods are bought on credit. 3. 80% of Americans had no savings. 4. In October 1929, the stock market loses 12 times more money in 3 weeks than the government spends in a year. 5. Only the 2% of Americans who own stock were immediately affected by the stock market. The rest of them got on with their lives until the Bank of the U.S. collapsed. 6. In the last 60 days of 1930, over 600 of banks closed nationwide. By 1933, there were 28 states without banks. 7. Unemployment in the United States went from 4 million in 1930 to 12 million in 1932. Every day 1,000 homes are repossessed. 8. Hoover Dam, a public works project, provided employment for 5,000 men. It will provide water and electricity for the American Southwest. 9. Hoover Dam creates the largest water reservoir in the U.S., Lake Mead, and allows California to produce more food than any other state in the U.S. 10. Describe the Dust Bowl, worst environmental for U.S. history of storm carrying away for dusts around the Great Plains had been working hard from it. 11. In 1936, U.S. farmers were losing $25 million per day. 12. 250,000 people flee the Dust Bowl, however two-thirds, fraction, stick it out. 13. How did the radio transform America in the 1930s? Connecting the rest of the country that appears to have millions of radio stations taken place to here. 14. Despite the public works programs, in 1936 1 in 6 Americans were still unemployed. 15. What event would it take to get the United States out of the Great Depression? World War II. 16. What was the symbolism of the Lewis-Schmeling fight? Americans were still unemployed.
I'm going to be doing 2 more assignments before I cut the video off. I may do more videos tonight. I don't know how many, probably around four videos, that'll be it. I am going to talk about the New Deal crash course that has been sent since the beginning of the year, probably around for another week or so, I can say. Probably around this week, I'm not sure. So, let's talk about the New Deal crash course.
New Deal crash course name, Quinn.
Oh,
1.
shoot.
According to FDR's campaign in the 1932 election, what was the responsibility of the government? They provide services by using the campaign as the result of how the vote has been on task. 2. What was the New Deal? It was a public session for all people who have heard of this can be more similar. 3. What is the National Recovery Administration, NRA? It is a prime of all recovers in possible relations of the New Deal having the pullover. 4. What 2 laws stand out for their far-reaching effects during the Second New Deal? The policy of finishing goals and using charge of money all times. 5. What were the goals of the Congress of Industrial Organizations? To stay more original usement as such for opportunities to reach for money. 6. Period. In what ways did unions play an important role in shaping the ideology of the Second New Deal? They could use a depression roll for any suggestion on the New Deal. 7. What does Social Security provide? How was it funded? And what did it mean in terms of the relationship between government and citizens? It was to include the rights of the citizens in relation to their priority. 8. What are Keynesian economics? They are the operators of the organizations and units of the relation on the New Deal. 9. How were Southern African Americans at a disadvantage during the New Deal era? They were in loyalty to at least one revolutionary.
Okay, so, alright, so let's talk about one more assignment, then I'm going to save it for the 101. So, let's do one more assignment. Let's do this one. Green fat Google eyes round. I actually made this around since like 2015 of November. I just did it for fun. I don't know why. And I showed it to my friends, and they were like, "What? That's kind of weird." So green fat, googly eyes round. They are best friends. My monster is 201 years old. My monster lives in a forest. My monster's name is Frey. My monster is really good at playing soccer. My monster is a broccoli eater but doesn't like onions. My monster likes to sing. My best thing about my monster is a boy. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up assignment that I'm gonna be saving for the next part, which is gonna be the vocabulary of atmosphere basics. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be answered to you whenever I can. So Yeah, you guys can hear me way better than the TV. I know it's kind of different because I'm in the living room, but I just woke up at 1 p.m. I didn't go to school today because I had a terrible headache and I couldn't even go because I was like I kept waking up earlier. I don't know why, but sometimes I kept on sleeping for an hour. Like 2 days ago, I was gonna get up for school. I was gonna get off school today. I was gonna skip school today because I kept on sleeping so much that I could not get up for any reason. But I'm pretty lucky that I woke up for at Monday. I did go to school at 2 days ago, but yesterday, well, not 2 days ago. What am I saying? Well, it was about 2 days ago. So about 2 days ago. So about yesterday, because the next day is gonna be May 12th, and my birthday is coming up on Sunday, and I cannot wait to get out of my teenage self for like 13 to 17. I have been I did not like my teenage self that much because I did not like my teenage self because I'm always interrupting conversations. I'm always talking a lot. Basic generations. I didn't really like my teenage selves for 13 to 17. I do not like my teenage self very much because uh I'm gonna miss I'm gonna miss those type of stuff. But I still have stories around 13 to 17. So I'll be able to tell you a story probably around June of 2021. I'm not really sure. Probably around like this summer, I'll be telling you a story of what happened around 13 to 17 because I really want to tell you what happened, those kind of things. Because I really want to know that I can tell you the story that I almost got expelled. So I can tell you all those stuff the best I can. So yeah, I'm gonna miss those stuff. So, so yeah, I'll be saving you the part 111, part 101.